And we are at Club Sapphire, and we're in the front room that they give tours to people. That like start out with the tours.
The no-named room.
The no-named room. They said there's no name to this room yet.
Poor sad room with no name.
Maybe
it needs a name.
We should come up with something.
The come on by room.
But not that.
Hey, someone might like it. Maybe it would stick.
The come on by room.
But spelled C-U-M.
Or well, it's the first room that you're in when they give you the tour and that type of thing. So like something early, like like premature ejaculation. Well, that's something. Maybe not that either.
Premature ejaculation.
Well, that's something that early. Like I'm just trying to say that like the first thing, like the virgin. Oh my God, the virgin room.
Oh, the virgin room.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
I think we figured it out.
Okay. Copyright 2017, Matt.
No, we'll get a plaque that says the virgin room. And then it'll be like Matt and Bianca.
Love it.
Like they'll have to have our.
All right, high five to that one. Okay. Use that from now on, and then they'll have it stick. They'll have it stick. Perfect.
No, we'll just buy a fucking thing and have them stick it on the door, and then it'll be fucking stuck.
Yeah, that's
the virgin room.
Love it. So when you come in here, it's the first thing you do is you take the tour in the virgin room, and then they.
I think the first thing you do is fill out paperwork.
Well, sure,
whatever.
exactly, and then you're having a good time at the party, and you meet a couple. And
you're talking like it's ominous. I feel like there should be music in the background, like dun dun dun. You're talking dun dun dun, and then
there's a couple.
You see them across the room.
Your eyes meet,
and you're like,
I must have them. Is that how it works?
But first, I must have a drink.
Yeah, you've had a couple already this evening. That's good. That makes you more entertaining. Oh,
I may lose my top.
Oh, okay. Well, stay tuned.
Yes.
Stay tuned. It might be boring what we're talking about, but that might happen, so that's good. That's good. So we wanted to talk about what you do in the situations where you have met this couple, and the hardest thing that people...
Hard. Sorry, I got distracted by the word hard.
Yes. Besides penises, if that's where you're going with that, the most difficult thing...
like hard cheese.
The most difficult thing is actually closing the deal.
Right. That is something we hear across the board, no matter how long you've been in the lifestyle. That is something that we hear about all the time, is closing the deal. How do you close a deal? What's the easiest way to close a deal? What's the smoothest way to close a deal? How do you close a deal?
Right. And so we've kind of gone over, we've gone around over the years and, figured out pretty good ways. And, it's funny, as we were driving up here, we were talking about this,
I wondered if you'd bring this up.
And that's right. And I said to you, so how do you close the deal, Bianca? And your response?
I don't remember what I said. Something like, well, I don't close the deal. I'm too shy.
No, you're like, I hope he says something.
No.
You're like, I don't want to close it. I hope the guy does something.
Yeah, if we were... Okay, so it's only happened once where you were busy and I was on my own, and the guy was like, you want to go in the back? And I was like, oh my gosh, someone asked me. Yay!
That's right. No one ever wants to have sex with you. That's so weird.
It doesn't. That was the first time that something like that has ever happened. And so I was like, there was no closing. I was like, these are my rules. Let's go. Mm-hmm. But normally, it's you. It's him. Mm-hmm. It's him. And there's usually a little bit of that. Wanna go? And I'm like, okay.
Oh, between us, between you and I, sure. Well, yeah.
You have to have that conversation between the two. Your main couple, you and your partner, have to decide whether you want to go to the back with this other couple. Both of you need to be okay with it, and then it takes just one person asking.
Right, and that's the difficult thing, because you never quite know what the other couple is thinking. But
you don't know, but you know if you're having a conversation with someone, and okay, so I just as an example, one of the last times we were recently with a couple that you're sitting boy, girl.
Mm-hmm.
And you're usually pretty good at being like all over her.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Right. And so
being all over her.
Right.
But in a good way. That sounded kind of creepy.
It's so like, well, yeah, I mean, there are so many times where I'm just like, well, they're like totally making out and we're just sitting here like totally shy because I'm shy and the guy I'm with is shy. So we're just sitting here and then maybe we'll talk about like our kids or something like silly. So it does take, and obviously there's an attraction there with me and the guy, but we're both too shy to move in any forward. Like he's not even going to like touch me. And so it takes someone, it just takes one person to move it forward.
Exactly. I mean, I can think
But you do need to make sure that everybody is on board.
Sure, and I can think of many situations over the years where it was just that, where all it took was one person out of the four.
Well, and I remember once you realize, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but once you realize that, oh my gosh, it's not that difficult to be that one person. Like, I remember you saying, I moved it forward. Like, it was me. I remember you being so excited that you moved it forward, that you were like, let's take it to the bedroom. And everybody was like, yeah, okay, let's go. And you were like, it wasn't really that hard, but it just takes that one person to say, let's move it to the bedroom or the back room or wherever you're going. But it's that one person that has to have the balls to be like, let's go. And you can kind of tell if it's going that way. Like if you're like making out with her and you give me a look of,
Well,
and I'm like, okay, sure. Like,
well, actually being at the point of making out with someone, yes, obviously that's a
then
given.
you two are given, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the two of us are a given.
Well, I can think of. I remember the first time this happened. Okay, so we were on a cruise a couple of years ago. All right, we were at the hotel beforehand. We met this Australian couple. They're very good friends of ours. At the time, we had never met them before, but we had talked beforehand, and there was the smile on your face. There was already a mutual attraction online before we ever even met them.
There was no mutual attraction online because I'd never seen.
Oh, I had shown you pictures.
I'm never online, so don't get insulted. I'm never online, but I don't remember this.
Okay, well, I knew.
Okay, maybe you showed me a picture. Okay, I will cop to that. Maybe you showed me a picture.
And I said they had Australian accents, and you were done, right?
You got me at Australian accent. Yeah. Okay, fine.
Thank you. All right. So anyway, the mutual attraction I knew was there already. Then we met them in person, and we sat by the pool all day long. We're hanging out and that type of thing, and you could tell there was a sexual tension there, but no one wanted to be brave enough.
God, it's never with me though.
It's never with you. Well,
it's always you. Like I remember that. Like he left. He was in their room doing something.
Yeah. Well, you went to get a drink, and he went to do something, and then
you guys were making out.
Well, that's when it was basically her and I were the only two people sitting on the chair, and then it was just kind of like fuck it, and I just started making out with her, and she accepted that, and then we were making out, and then you guys came back, and then you guys were a little awkward or whatever, but at that point that was enough for him to kiss you. And
I don't remember that.
I remember it.
I'm sure it happened.
And then it was easy, and then it was okay.
I'm
that type
awkward.
of thing. And that actually happened.
The moral of this is I'm awkward.
That actually happened with another couple here recently, where her and I, hit it off, and he was a little bit more shy, and you were a little shy, but we were both the woman and I were the extroverts. We're and then things started to move forward, and then her and I started making out, and yes, exactly what you were just talking about, where there was awkward.
And had like just a normal conversation, and he never really did anything. It wasn't until the next time we saw them and you were like, dude, like have a conversation, make out with her, that
right.
It was moving more forward, right?
Well, the fact is, at that point when we were making out, I was making out with her, and you were like, well, they're making out, so we might as well make out too, type of thing. And you guys did, and then it was fine. And it was just, it just takes that. But even still, with couples, I mean, there was one couple, for example, where we hit it off with the two of them, great, and we were hanging out and you're pole dancing and doing all that kind of thing, and then the woman said, she just flat out said, she's like, honestly, I'm really bad at this thing, at this part of it, but we would love to play with you guys. And it was as simple as that, where, if that's the thing is, if you, and I don't know if we've talked about it before on this video series or on our other video series, but there is that concept of, if you're talking to someone and you're having a great conversation and you get to like that 7-minute lull, and they don't start going, okay, kind of walking over to meet somebody else type of thing, they're still kind of hanging out with you. That in itself is a huge sign that is basically like they are attracted to you, because even during that awkwardness that happens in conversation, they still stayed there.
Right.
And it's one of those things that's a really, really good visual clue that I've used many times, that has actually moved things to the next level, where it's just kind of like, okay, now I know that they're attracted to us, and they both seem like they're cool, and then it just is really like, hey, we've already kind of either nodded to each other or done a secret handshake or whatever, or whispered, or when you're in the bathroom, we're already in agreement that we would like to play with this couple, and then it basically just takes something as simple as what I had just pointed out. Was like, hey, this is kind of awkward.
It just
asking.
takes one person to ask that question, and you can say that it's the awkward, like, I'm awkward for asking this question, but everybody's thinking it. If you're at that point where all four of you are getting along, it just takes that one person to say, like, you guys want to move this forward or back to the back or whatever. But what happens if that couple wants to say no?
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll get to that about saying no, because that's an interesting point, because then no is no is a whole conversation itself. Okay, so we'll get to that in a minute. But it was funny that you just reminded me that there was a conversation actually you and I had in the car drive over here about a couple that you had heard of that had a really great technique for closing.
Oh, was that the one at the house?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they invite a couple over to their house, and they watch a movie, and then the movie's over, and then the hostess excuses herself, and they just figure she goes to the bathroom. So then the host, Mr. Man, says, would you like a tour of the house? So they get a tour of the house.
DIY guy.
Does his own, just come check out my house. So the last room they go to is the master bedroom. And what do they see when they open the door but little wifey wife in some adorable lingerie watching porn? So that's how things get started there.
That's kind of awesome.
So moral of the story, always have cute lingerie and porn available in your master bedroom.
If you're at home.
If you're at home. If you are at a club like Club Sapphire, you'll have to come up with other resources.
Well, like, the lingerie works.
Hey, you want to go fuck in the back?
Yeah.
You're cute. I'm cute. We're both horny. Let's go.
Right. And we've been at Sapphire at times where we're just, there's another trick, especially at a place like this where there are, especially if it's a little later, like where things are really going in the back, that you can say, have you guys, like, especially if it's the first time here, have you guys seen the place?
Want to tour the back? Have you seen it?
Yeah, tour of the back is good.
Oh my gosh, that one room is my favorite room. You want to see my favorite room?
I want to go watch some couples or something like that.
I need something out of my locker. You want to come with me?
Well, you've got a whole list of these.
I never use them.
That's right, you don't.
I'm too fucking shy.
But that's so funny too, because like you don't exude shyness at all.
I know. I was actually just talking to someone out there who's I've known for a while and knows me-ish. And I said, oh, I'm shy. And he was like, he gave me that look. And I'm like, no, really, if you know me, I'm shy. I'm like, seriously. Right. No, really, I'm shy. Yeah.
Yeah, so.
I will never initiate.
Why not?
Because I'm shy.
No, that's not an
Unless
answer.
I know you. If I know you, I'll initiate. If I know you and...
Well, why won't you initiate? Besides that, shy is kind of a cop-out. What are you afraid of? Is that what it is? You're afraid of something?
I don't think I'm afraid of anything, but I think me personally, if it was just like a single guy or just a guy by himself or whatever, it'd be easier to initiate for me personally.
Right.
If it was a group of us, like, I don't know. I think for me, I have to know the people or the person a little bit better. There was one time on one of the cruises many years ago where we were in the hot tub with a couple that we'd been with, and I knew him really well, I knew her, and I whispered in his ear, "I want your cock in my mouth right now." And that was the end of it. Like, we all ended up in the room.
Well, that's an
But
easy
does that
one.
count? That's
no,
an
it
easy
doesn't
one.
count. You
Because
played with him already.
I played with him, and
Well, you knew you were with 100% certainty the guy wasn't going to say no to that.
Right.
He was just going to be like, yeah, we had sex and it was awesome, and let's do it again. And obviously the four of us connected. So yeah, no, that one doesn't work. That one doesn't work. You got to think of it.
But no, he told me that needs to be my line. I just need to say that all the time. I want your cock in my mouth.
Absolutely. You know what? That's the thing, is there isn't a guy in the world that would be like, no.
Yeah, but what if, like, I don't know, there's just a lot of variables. Like, are you into her? Is she into it? Like, I find that when I get out there in the middle of it all, like, I get really shy. And for me to say that to someone I don't know, me personally, to say that to someone I don't know, it's not going to happen. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen.
You know what? I think you should challenge yourself.
No.
I think... Do you realize you'd get laid so much more, and in secondary, I would get laid so much more?
Laid.
Well, no, I'm just saying...
I get laid enough. I'm good.
Enough? What?
What?
No one should ever be laid enough.
I am happy with how much I get laid.
Oh. I'm not getting any tonight. All right. You wouldn't even want to, like, say, okay, you know what, sometime, like, at the next Saturday party.
Too many things. Like, for me, like, I think too hard. Like, I need you to think for me or someone else to think for me, because my thing is like, and this is me personally, like, this isn't everybody out there, but I'm like, is Matt into the girl enough? Is, like, he into me? Is she into him? Like, there's just too much going on. And to be quite honest, when we've had experiences here, I don't get typically a lot of like response from guys.
What do you mean?
Like, they'll sit like this and talk to me. Like, they're not like, hey, how's it going? Mm-hmm. Like, they're not. And so if they're over here, I'm like, okay, well, they're not interested, but our spouses are making out, so, you know, go for them. But, I mean, if a guy, and I've had a success recently with a single guy that flat out asked me, but we had, like, I invited, like, he kind of came over and we were talking, and then we had a little bit of a conversation, and so I was 100% comfortable with him the way that it all happened. I don't know. I'm just weird and shy. So ask me.
But you do realize...
Why are you eching that? Because... What is wrong with, like...
Oh, no, there's nothing wrong with it, except for the fact that what's going to happen is in
I'm sorry, you a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to get laid?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
So why is it so hard to ask the question? If I'm sitting there talking to you, having a conversation with you like this.
So, well, okay.
Why is it so hard to go, you know, or start making it like...
Because...
You're the guy. I don't want to be the guy. I don't want to be the guy.
It's not the guy thing. It's
I know there are women out there that, and I love some of them. Like, there are some of my best friends that are so comfortable with, like, just walking up to a guy and making out with them. That's never going to be me.
Well, But you have to understand. You have to understand that many guys are intimidated by you, and so
I find that is such a like, just that excuse is so, like, overused and silly.
Why?
Because why? I'm just a person. Oh my gosh, I think that's so, like, I hear that out of, like, all the time in my life, like at dance classes and everything, that people are gonna, fuck that. Don't be intimidated. Just go for it. The worst that I could say would be, no, thank you. I'll be really nice. But, like, don't be intimidated. Seriously. Oh my gosh. I'm so tired of I'm so tired of hearing that. I'm so tired of hearing that people are intimidated by me.
Well,
I'm done. No more. Do not say you're intimidated by me.
Because you're so friendly, right?
I am.
No, I know you
when
are.
am I not friendly?
I know. All right, okay. So if you're watching and you have any remote interest in ever having sex with her, basically you just have to come up and talk to her. That's all it takes, apparently. And putting their arm on you and say, "Hey, let's go to the bath."
You're such an asshole sometimes.
That's what you said.
Right?
I'm just rephrasing what you just said to me.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
Okay. So now, so you had mentioned that you would say, if you weren't interested, that you would say no, thank you. All right. Is that something that you have difficulty with, saying no?
Isn't that the hardest thing? Like, how many of us you get an offer and gosh, you don't want to hurt that person. You don't want to like make them feel bad. Like turning someone down sucks, right? How do you do it?
Oh,
I make him do it.
You know what? Okay, wait. I just thought of something.
Have a headache.
Let me back up for a second. Let me back up for something. I just thought of something. Okay, all right. So what if you had some sort of like signal that you were like to tell a guy that you actually are okay with him like moving forward, like so that if someone was watching this right now and they were like,
this is now the like let's figure Bianca out channel.
Yes.
And if she gives you this signal. You can move on and ask her to go in the back with you.
You know how like women like brush their hair behind their head, or you know that thing that they do that says that they're attracted to you or whatever. Yeah.
I don't think that exists, but okay. We play with our hair when we're attracted. We do.
Okay, so that's.
I don't know.
Okay, so I'm gonna hold you to that specifically. All right, you're talking to a guy. All right, and you start playing with your hair like that, just like. You know, kind of just doing the sexy thing, whatever. That is your way because you're afraid to bring it up to the guy. You've already pointed that out. But that is the way that you can actually say to the guy, hey, I might be interested. And that's something that other women can do, too, if they really are concerned about that, is to kind of make it obvious. Just make it obvious so that there is that for people that are, like, intimidated by you and other women can actually go, oh, so I'm actually seeing...
Sorry, are you saying that we need to create this thing where all women who want to say yes play with their hair? So forget if you're like trying to hide your extensions or just messing with your hair. Like
in a sexy way.
That doesn't work.
In a sexy... Are you fixing your extensions?
I'm sorry, fixing your extensions in a sexy way? Like...
Yep, that's it. But
that doesn't mean I want to fuck you.
Yes, it does.
No, it just means my extensions were showing in the back and I didn't want people to see.
And so you wanted to do it in a sexy way. Women are confusing. I'll never figure you guys out. Just ask. Just say, hey.
Just ask us. But then again, we have to figure out how to say no. We go back and
the double standards. Okay, so anyway, so back to no.
I have to wash my hair that night. Oh wait, I'm already here. How do you say no?
Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm a guy, all right, and you're
are.
Thank you. And you are
I've seen proof.
You're having a great conversation with me, but you don't want to go in the back for numerous reasons. It might be the guy, it might be the fact that I'm not available, your husband isn't available, and
right.
it's I don't know, it's that time of the month and you just don't feel like playing or whatever it might be. There's 100 reasons why that aren't necessarily no thank you sir, it's you specifically. It could be something with Bianca.
So what kind of answer would you want? If you asked a girl if she wanted to go in the back, what kind of answer would you want?
Well, I've discovered over the years that actually something as simple as a no thank you is perfectly fine, and not having an excuse is better. And more than anything,
really? Not having an excuse.
More than anything, this is one thing that people do, and I think we did it early on too. Is respond with not right now.
Yeah.
Or something along those.
If you say not right now or maybe later,
you're implying later is okay.
That later is okay, and then when they see you leave with someone else, ouch. Mm-hmm. That's
unless it's really true, like the example that I just said about it's that time of the month. You're like, yeah, no, I'm sorry, I can't play tonight. Yes. So that means, don't go play with somebody else. If that's the excuse that the excuse that you did. But then, if you're saying that, then you are implying that, maybe next time, which if that's the reason and you are attracted to them, then that's nothing wrong with saying, I can't play tonight, but we would love to play with you guys another time. That's the conversation that can be as smooth as that.
So you'd rather hear just, no thanks, than like, no thanks, I'm just not playing tonight, or like you don't want any kind of excuse.
I wouldn't have a problem. I wouldn't have a problem with a woman saying I'm not playing tonight, providing that's true. Because that's exactly what you just said. Where if she 5 minutes later goes in the back with some other guy and I see that, that's soul crushing stuff right there. I'd rather someone just flat out said no, thank you, and didn't go into more depth than that. Being that I'm in the lifestyle and I've been around the block enough times that no means no, and it's as simple as that. And it's not, and I shouldn't be offended by that. It's one thing if she says, no, I'm sorry, I'm not attracted to you, or no, yes, that would be offensive.
But there's different, like, people are into different people for different reasons. Like, I may have an amazing conversation with you. You might be, like, a great conversationalist. We had this great conversation about whatever, but that doesn't necessarily mean I want to fuck you. It doesn't mean I'm attracted to you in that way. And that doesn't mean that I'm rejecting you as a person or I don't want to ever talk to you. It just means I don't want to have sex with you. And it might mean I don't want to have sex with you today and tomorrow, but who knows what happens down the road. If I like having a conversation with you, maybe we'll talk for a while. Maybe I'm the type of person that needs to have more conversations before I have sex with you. Maybe I'm the type of person that I don't know, maybe something changes in 5 years or... Which
you are, because there have been times that you have told me, hey, I would play with that guy, and I'm like, oh, really? You would? And you're like, yeah, we've become friends, and we've talked, a dozen times at the club or something like that, where it was someone that actually surprised me that you had interest in.
I think for me, I'm so different than you. For me, personality is so huge. Like a connection. I'm more, talk to me, make me feel something than like you are, and
you don't know me at all.
No,
you don't know me at all. Ugh.
And I want to have that connection with you. I'm not like hey, how you doing? Let's go to the back. I've done that, and it never ends well. It really every time I've done it, it doesn't end well. I want to have that connection with someone. I want to have that conversation, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And when we were first in lifestyle, I used to almost apologize for that. Like I felt like I wasn't allowed to have those feelings.
Get to know someone.
And get to know someone. Like, it had to be like, hi, you're cute, let's go to the back. And I like the connections. I like feeling something. I like having a little something with that person I'm with, and I'm done apologizing for it. It's okay.
This is perfectly all right. And in fact, come the next Saturday night, you're going to have a whole ton of guys that are having conversations with you now.
Yay! Come talk to me.
And with that, so if you have any topics that you'd like us to talk about in a future video, feel free to email us at that email address right below. And of course, if you have any comments about like what works for you as far as how do you move the conversation,
let us know. Tell me.
just write it in the YouTube comments below, and let's start a conversation about that, because there's a lot of really good ways to do it. Or if you heard a funny story about how, like the one that you had mentioned about someone in their house, that type of thing, different techniques. Also, what are good ways to say no?
Yeah, that's something everybody needs help with. How do you say no? How do you reject someone without making them feel horrible? Or, whatever. Rejection is a very difficult thing to do within the lifestyle. So if you have any advice, share. And of course, you can always go to Club Sapphire's website to check out the latest parties and events that are happening. Their website's always updated with the newest things. Every Saturday's got something cool going on. And of course, the different times of the month as far as the first Fridays and the 101 classes and the orgies and all that kind of thing. And of course, Wednesday nights when you two
do pole dance classes. So, and of course, you can always join the Facebook group. There's even a secret Facebook group if you're a member of the club, which is pretty awesome. So I'd recommend asking around about that. And anything else you want to say?
If you see me, come say hi. At least have a conversation with me.
All right. Okay. Yeah, me too. Fine. That sounds good.
Whatever.
All right. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.